Welcome to the kitchen where we make everything but pasta. In today's video, I will be going through all of the different things that I cooked using my Breville Smart Oven air fryer over the month of May 2023. Some information to share about my eating habits. I live in a household with 2 adults, no kids. I work a significant portion of the week from home, so I'm often home over lunchtime. I like to eat a mix of vegetarian and meat dishes, though I primarily eat chicken or fish when it comes to animal protein. For dinners, I generally try to make enough for 2 people to eat, sometimes with leftovers in mind, other times not. Lunches tend to only be for 1 person. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I made this month was air-fried falafel. I reheated falafel that I cooked the night before, and I also wanted to compare the texture between air-fried and deep-fried falafel to see how they compare. Trying this falafel that I just reheated. Yep. It's crunchy. I also fried 2 falafel fresh, so I'm just gonna see if there's a noticeable texture difference between the 2. Okay, so the fried one is a little bit crunchier, but the one that I did in my air fryer still has a bit of crunch to it. It's not soggy like it gets when you reheat it in the microwave. So I think that it's pretty good for the second day. The next day I had a lazy lunch and I just air fried some pre-battered fish. I baked it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 24 minutes, flipping it halfway through. On a second tray I baked some crispy potatoes. May 3rd, I baked up more crispy potatoes and made some scrambled eggs for breakfast. After breakfast, I decided that if I'm going to be filming my cooking, I should probably clean my air fryer. I have a full video on how I do a deep clean of my air fryer, but I do try and clean it about every month or so. For lunch, I made a side of asparagus to go along with my leftovers from the night before, air fried at 425 for 10 minutes. That night for dinner, I prepared some eggplant parm that I like to batch cook. I warmed it up for about 20 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit and then broiled it for about 2 minutes to get the cheese nice and melted on top. The next morning for breakfast, again, crispy potatoes and eggs with a small salad. Dinner was chicken quesadilla, which is cooked on the stove but finished in the air fryer to get the tortilla nice and crisp. The recipe for quesadillas is available on the YouTube channel. On the side, I made some roasted asparagus to add some extra vegetables. I also added some sesame seeds right at the end for extra flavor. My side dish for lunch was roasted broccoli rabe, or maybe it's broccolini, I'm not really sure, I don't know the difference, along with some battered fish. It was a Friday, so my husband and I went out for dinner that night, so the air fryer got a break. May 6th, I made some bread in the morning and I proofed it in the air fryer for about 2.5 hours and then baked it at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. I love fresh baked bread. We don't eat bread every day, but it's nice to have. I freeze leftovers for when I need a slice or 2. I made curry for dinner, so I didn't use the air fryer that night. The next day, I had some breakfast potatoes and again, made dinner on the stove, which was a stir fry on that day. I didn't cook anything for the next few days as I went to Cincinnati to hang out with Fritz and Fiona. Leave a comment below if you know who I'm talking about. I went over to a friend's place for dinner and I made some date squares to bring for dessert. I cooked it at 350 degrees for 30 minutes and they were very decadent. I made some buttered toast just as a snack. On May 13th, I just toasted some bread as the base for my eggs on toast with some spinach, kimchi, and Korean hot pepper flakes. The next day, I experimented with making some air-fried chickpea tofu, which I used throughout the week for meals including my lunch of quinoa with sauteed vegetables. It was pretty good. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. That night, my husband made us chicken wings with garlic bread and roasted tomatoes. By now, we're halfway through the month, and you can start to see a theme emerge. The morning of May 15th, I made breakfast potatoes for a few days, this time with some chives to spice things up. May 16th, I made some roasted vegetables. The Breville Smart Oven air fryer only comes standard with 1 air fryer rack, but I purchased an additional 3 racks which come in handy when you want to air fry larger batches like I did on this day. We ate the roasted vegetables with some baked salmon and I had some leftovers for lunch for the next day. Over the next 48 hours, I dehydrated a bunch of oranges for a friend's wedding. I sliced the oranges on my mandolin and laid them out on all 4 of my air fryer racks for maximum circulation. Because there was quite a bit of humidity due to all the layers of oranges, it took a little bit longer than dehydrating only 1 rack at a time. They turned out great though, and they looked really nice at the wedding. On May 18th, I toasted some of my bread and ate it with some potatoes and eggs for breakfast. I also roasted some asparagus to go alongside my dinner that evening. I baked some lime grilled chicken in the air fryer and ate it with some fried rice and chimichurri on top as a sauce. The next day, I made some beet green chips, which are similar to kale chips, with just a little bit of oil, salt, and pepper. I made some cinnamon buns. Look closely for a special appearance from the creator of Everything But Pasta. There's no recipe posted on YouTube, but leave a comment below if you'd like to find out how to make these delicious cinnamon buns. The next day, I roasted some turnips to add on top of my salad. This was my first time trying turnips and I really enjoyed it. Then I didn't use the air fryer for a few days. I'd gone out a few times to eat and over to some family members' houses, so the next time that I used my air fryer was on May 24th, where I made pizza in the air fryer for dinner and another pizza for lunch the next day. The air fryer fits a standard pizza stone, and I usually warm the stone up for about 20 minutes before cooking my pizza.
That was so good.
That night, I made roasted chicken with stir-fried veggies for dinner. That weekend, I dehydrated some chives from the garden to be used throughout the next few weeks. I also made roasted asparagus as a side. I made taco bowls in the air fryer and it turned out really well. You do need either a mold or to use tin foil to get the bowl to maintain its shape to begin, but it was a huge hit in my household and I've made it several times since then. I also roasted some garlic scapes and roasted vegetables as a side. The next day, I dehydrated some chive flowers, which make for a pretty garnish on things like my roasted potatoes. The last night of May, I made individual mac and cheese and some for the freezer, and accompanied it with some roasted vegetables. So this is what I made over the month of May 2023, which is fairly typical. I make a lot of the same things, but I also tried some new things for the first time. I cooked a range of breakfast, lunch, dinners, and dessert items. And there are days that I didn't use the air fryer, but usually it was because either I made something on the stove, had leftovers, or I ate out. Other days I used my air fryer multiple times. I didn't use my regular oven once in the month, nor do I generally use my oven at all, except really for storing a few pots and pans. I absolutely love my air fryer, and this is after about 2 years of regular use. If you'd like to see my full review of the Breville Smart Oven Air Fryer, you can watch it on our channel. If you'd like me to film another month of what I cook using the air fryer, just leave a comment below. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.